Hey everybody, how you doing? This is James from My Take on Reality. Welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you here. Can't wait to get started. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're also going to get to your phone calls, and if we have a little time at the end, maybe we'll take a couple calls on the line and bring some folks up. But before we get too far into it, let me go ahead and drop that intro and we gonna get in. Let me make sure I can get some ones in the chat to make sure that you guys can see me, you can hear me, everything is cool as far as that's concerned. That way, when everything ends, we can just roll right into the show. Let me see if we see any ones. Do we have any ones? Got some ones, got some ones. Thank you so much. Right off the draw, it was Patty Garcia dropping them ones in the Chizat. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hopefully, everybody's having an awesome night. We're going to give people a little time to load in audio speaker. What does that mean, Lizzie B? You guys having trouble? I can turn it up a little bit. That way you can hear my crispy, rich voice. All right, guys, let's drop this intro. Let's get it. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're you and me. You're you and me. You could be around. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're you and me. You're you and me. All right, guys, welcome to this show. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, audio is good. Thank you, Lizzie B. Appreciate you. All right, guys, we have some stuff to talk about as normal. We always on the channel as well as other channels, we always kind of speculate about what's going on with the Brown family finances. How are they making out? How did this happen? And as I talked about in my last video, you know, we spend so much time not only on my channel, but on channels across the board, where we simply talk about when we talk about the Brown family finances, it always comes down to Cody Pass. Cody Pass and the McMansion. The McMansion and Cody Pass. And now, because they have the new house, the shit show chateau, we're going to start talking about that, the $2.1 million purchase that they just made. And as I talked about in my last video, we're talking about people who were on a show for 19 seasons. Ladies and gentlemen, these folks were making about $100,000 on average, like over the course of over the course of the 19 seasons. If you take into account the first few seasons when they were making a lot of money, down to where Cody even renegotiated the contract, these families were making about $100,000 a year over the course of the 19 seasons per person, which means per household. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know about y'all. My house, at this house, if I'm making six figures, we are good. Okay? We are good. We are better than good. Okay? I can do it with less than six figures a year. You can't tell me I can't make shit happen with six figures. What? What? You are crazy. You're crazy. So, the 19 seasons at $100,000 a season is $1.9 million. Okay, almost $2 million. We have rounded up to $2 million. They made $2 million over the course of this show per person, which means that out of five of them, they made 20, or not 20, they made 10. So math is struggling. They made 5 times 2 is 10. They made $10 million. $10 million damn dollars. And you guys are like, and we sitting here, because my wife pulled this out, my lady pulled this out. Because she was saying, what about that family money? Why are we talking about a house and dirty ass dusty ass Cody Pass? What you got $10 million in the bank? Cody Pass was about $1 million if we round it up. Okay. It was $890,000, which is about everything give and take, because I gave a little bit to get the $2 million per. I'll give them a little bit. It's $1 million to purchase that property. Even then, they couldn't go right out and purchase the property. And Cody, who was in charge of the family fund, sat there and said that I don't have the money. What do you mean you don't have the money? Okay, if I have my entire paycheck going into a bank account, there is no way, and especially if I have my entire paycheck going into a bank account and I'm paying my bills with my side hustle, there's no way you gonna look me in the face and tell me we don't have nothing in that bank account. I'm sorry. Me speaking no English, okay? I don't speak it in English because I don't understand what you saying. I don't understand the words coming up out your mouth. You talking about you ain't got no money. You don't have none of your money? Because where is my money? Okay? That's where I would be at. And that's kind of where I would expect the sister wives and even a Brown family to be at. Because we're talking about, like, I'm watching the preview and they're already rolling out the story about how, oh, we're going to get into it this season, this second season, which is really, this is technically season 20. Let's not bullshit each other. This is season 20. Okay. You might do an abbreviated season 20, but this is really season 20. You took off 2 months, a 2-month hiatus. You know what I mean? The season's over. Like, you start a new season, player. But okay, fine, I'll use your language because you're comfortable with it. We're starting the second season, and already they talking about, we really gonna get into this cow to pass stuff. What? Like my lady said, we need to refocus. We need to get it together and take a look at what's actually going on. What's really going on. Okay? Because if we're talking about, I understand people were going to college. I understand that, they were paying for cars, but these folks wasn't running around driving Bentleys and Lambos. Okay, I mean, they had some nice cars, but I mean, come on. Not $10 million worth of cars. And I don't give a shit how many knickknacks, doodads, and bullshit you buy, how much of that stuff you buy. If you spend $10 million on cruise art and crystals, that's, I'm not saying like I don't. I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna say on this channel, as a rule, especially per YouTube guidelines, we do not support nobody putting their hands on nobody. That's wrong. You will go to jail. I'm just saying you can call me inmate 227 because there's no way in the world you gonna tell me that you took my $2 million and put it on some cruise art. It's an investment. You better cash it in, liquefy that. Part of the problem with this whole thing, especially as we talk about, especially when we talk about the family finances, where everybody was, I get it. James, it's easy for you to criticize because you didn't grow up in a polygamous relationship in the family and the cult. You're right. You're absolutely right. I did not grow up that way. I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up, where this would even be kind of cool. But at the same time, this is part of the reason why we do the show, right? Because this goes beyond just an issue where I want to sit here and say, it's too bad, so sad. Some people just going to have to suffer this because this is the way it is. This is the point where we start making points and saying, guys, this is not right. This is not normal. This is not cool. If you're in a situation where you are contributing into that situation, whether it's financial, time is more valuable than money, by the way. But if you're contributing your time, your money, your finances, your heart, your soul, and everything else into something, then it makes zero sense that you will be sitting there and not have any idea what's going on. You have a paycheck hitting the door. You can't even hide behind the argument that he's making all the money and it's his paycheck and it's his stuff and you have nothing to do with it. You know how much you're getting paid because you have to go in there and sign documents. And this is the weird, janky ass part of what's going on. Like when you're sitting around a table and you guys are having these little bullshit ass family meetings where you got Cody sitting at the head of the table. I wish I pulled that. I knew where I had that. I have a clip where the wives are sitting at the table. They're supposed to have a quick meeting with the wives meeting or whatever. And the wives are sitting around the table and Christine happens to sit at the head of the table and Cody comes in and he's like, "Oh, you're the head of the family now? What's going on? You're the head of the family." And he throws a big deal about it. And Christine, she, all jittery, she jumps up. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. No." And she sits over to the side. And then she breaks out the little pad and stuff because apparently Christine was the secretary. If they're officers, Christine was a secretary and Janelle was a treasurer, which kind of begs the question, who is the vice president? Who is the second in command? Robin. And I'm sure Mary thought she was second in command at first because she was the legal wife. But then I think she was humbled and realized that she was just merely a guest. She had a guest pass. But while you're sitting there at these meetings, I've been in these type of activities and organizations, right? When I was a kid, from the time I was a child, I was an officer in a lot of the clubs and stuff I joined. So whether it's the CYO, Children's Youth Organization, CSC, Community Service Corps, whatever, right? The organizations within school that I was joining and part of and became an officer to. Every meeting started the same way, folks. When I go down, I don't want to be a dickhead, but I'm as it stands right now, I'm an elected official in my town, right? Because some things got janky and, not to insert politics here, but local politics is something that we should all be aware of and all volunteer for and all keep an eye on because, paying attention to the presidential stuff and the national stuff is cool, but all the decisions are actually made on the local level. Okay, on the state level, then on the local level. These folks will impact your life way more than Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or whoever the fuck you vote for or stand by or like. Okay, your local politician, whom a lot of people ironically have no idea who these people are, make way more decisions that affect your life. Trust me when I say this. Okay, and when you sitting there complaining about, I can't believe my property tax is so high. Donald Trump didn't come down and raise your property taxes. Okay, your local guy did. Whether it's your township supervisor, your committee person, commissioner, or whatever you have in your township, they raise your damn property taxes. Not to get on the soapbox, but when I go to those meetings, that's one of the first things you talk about. How much money you have, where the money is, what you spent the money on, what you're going to spend the money on. This is just every organization I've ever been a part of. This is something you do. You always tell them where the money is, how much you have, how much you had, and where the difference is. How much came in, how much went out, where did it go? How much do you expect to get? Are you going to be able to pay your bills? These types of issues are very important. And while you're sitting around your kitchen table and you're playing CEO and boss man, this would be a very important time for you to have this type of discussion with your family. How are we going to pay our bills? We have 4 households. This is according to Cody and them in Las Vegas. We have 4 households to support. In the first season, we have 2 households to support. We have the Lehigh, basically the big Lehigh house and Robin's house. Right or wrong, you had 2 households to support. How are we going to do this? And as a family, you come together and you put your heads together and you make those types of decisions. There's an American poet, 50 Cent, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And he had regaled us of a story time, not a personal story, but a borrowed story. Sorry, guys. But 50 Cent had told a story about how when his grandfather would go to work, he would come home and he would hand his entire paycheck to 50 Cent's grandmother. And he would watch this week after week. This man would go to work, get his check. He'd come home, hand it to his wife. And, she'd give him whatever. And 50 Cent said, well, why are you handing her your entire check? And his grandfather's response was something that I thought was brilliant. And to a degree, I guess personally, I employ that same tactic so that I learned from my dad and my mom, and it was simply this. He said, I hand her my entire check because when she goes to the store or one of her friends get a new pair of shoes, she knows what we have and she knows what we have to spend our money on. She's up to date. So she's not sitting there guessing, trying to figure out and wanting something that we can't afford because she know what we have and she know how far that thing will go. Right? So if she gets the check, she's paying the bill. She knows how much they got. She knows how far that check is stretching. And she's like, you know what? I would like some new shoes, but I can't afford them because we don't have it right now. And that involves your partners into these decisions. Now, when you watch Cody, it seems like the way Cody and them ran the family, Cody will complain, and we're going to watch this season, in my opinion. This season, we're going to watch Cody complain about these women. These chicks don't know how much I'm spending on everything, right? Because, he's not going to call them women. He's not going to call them ladies. He's not going to call them wives. He's going to call them something derogatory. These chicks have no idea. These dames. I'm waiting for Cody to pop the old stuff out. Like, I think he's going to go into the old man trunk, call them dames. These dames ain't have no idea how much it really costs or how much I was actually spending. That's why the money disappeared, right? And part of the problem is because you never included them in what you were actually doing. When he went off for that big one house thing, what did he do? He basically snuck off by himself with his friends, his friends, his brother in tow, went to the lady, the architect, and she put together a rendering of what this one house was going to look like. And he spent, look, if you hire an architect, I haven't hired an architect in a long time, I know, in a minute. But when you hire an architect, these people aren't cheap. They're not sitting there with their crayons and just drawing some shit out. If she's going to construct a home and she's going to create a rendering of said home, that's money. So Cody spent a significant amount of money to get this artwork and rendering that we watched on the show a ton of times. He spent a significant amount of money to get that done. And the crazy part is that this is something that he wasn't even sure. And it turns out he was completely wrong. But it was something that he wasn't even sure that his wives would go along with. And you took money out of the family fund to render a pipe dream, which is ridiculous. And then even on top of that, you didn't consult them about what you were going to do as far as the living spaces, how much everything was going to cost, what it was going to look like, et cetera, et cetera. You just by yourself decided that basically Mary was going to get a closet because she had the smallest home or apartment in the one house, followed by the next smallest was Janelle, because Janelle is very utilitarian, so she'll sit there and she'll be okay with only having a couple rooms here and there, a couple things. So she was okay with that. Then of course that was followed by Christine, who had, I think she was going to get 5 bedrooms initially, and then one of those bedrooms was going to be an office for him. Then of course you had Robin, who was going to essentially have a little McMansion inside the the one house. So he had said that he wanted her to have, I think it was like 2,700 square feet. And everybody else was like hovering around like 5 to 750. So her house, even in the one house, was going to be 2 to 3 times bigger than everybody else's house. But even then, he never consulted any of them. You know, of course, this is also very funny to me because when they bought the houses on the cul-de-sac, they were so pressed about everybody being even and equal. So even though Robin at the time was walking in with $30,000 worth of debt that the family had to absorb and pay off, right? Stuff that the family had nothing to do with. I think last week there was somebody who had mentioned that, Robin came in with $30,000 worth of debt, but everybody in the family had bankruptcies. That's true. But we also have to take into account that when these people generated those bankruptcy debts, those debts that eventually defaulted into bankruptcy, these are all debts that they all collectively put together. These are all debts that they all created. And in Robin's case, this is a debt that she brought into the family. Because we have to keep in mind, you know, little mental gymnastics, I understand, but we always have to keep in mind that everybody who was involved basically in this family, the OG3 and Cody, were relatively young when this family first, not even relatively young, they were very young, when this family first started. And so when they came in, they didn't have anything. So everything that they built, everything that they owed, was all as a result of them being involved with this family. Robin's contribution to the debt cycle of the family was something that she brought into the family. That was her burden, her cost that the family took on, absorbed, and bore. So there is a substantive difference between the two. But even still, when Robin was sitting there talking about she had $30,000 worth of bad debt, and they were saying, oh, well, I don't know if Mary's going to get approved. It wasn't just Mary. It was also Cody. Because let's not forget, Cody and Mary were married. Okay? So they sit there and say, oh, I don't know if Mary's going to get approved. That was Mary and Cody struggling to get approved. You know, Janelle, I think, was okay. Christine was okay. But in any event, they all sat there and argued about how they all deserved to have the same size house, et cetera, et cetera. But when it came time for the one house deal, all of a sudden, Robin was going to get like this big, huge house within the house, this big space within the one house. And the other wives were going to get a pittance of that space. But, you know, of course, there are no favorites. Cody didn't have favorites. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Ivana, what's going on from Canada? What's going on? Neighbors to the north, our neighbors to the north, not the 51st state, but the neighbors to the north. No politics. But yeah, so I did pull something I thought was interesting, especially when it talks about like Cody and his response to like how the family has invested. And I think that this is a key point that I will pivot from as I talk about a little further about the family finances.
When it comes to land and mortgage payments and rent, we're paying basically 9 payments as our family. And that would seem strange to even a polygamist, I think. We had 4 mortgages that we had in the past, and that would seem strange to any monogamist unless they were an investor. Financially, it's ridiculous. Terrible planning. Terrible,
which is pretty much encapsulating the entire Cody Brown investor experience. Terrible planning, seat of the pants. I'm just going to go out and do it because I have money. And I think that a large part of the reason why they do things the way they do is because they entered into this with a poor person's mentality and mind for finance. I've talked about it before, and I'll just simply say this. This is not a shot on anybody. This is just how you survive, how you develop yourself, and where, acknowledgement of where you are. When you're in a certain situation where you don't have a lot of money coming in, that's a different skill set, okay? You know how to make a dollar stretch. You know how to save a dollar. You know how to save money. You know how to make that money last longer and go further. Okay, that's a different skill set. But and I think that Christine, when she demonstrated that skill set, when she was standing there talking about she goes couponing and she's able to get a buy one, get one, the BOGO, she's able to get the 20% off, the little 30 cent off, the dollar off. I'm gonna tell you now, like when I was a young man, I wasn't real big on couponing. Okay. I am a big couponer now. I'm a big fan of coupons. Okay, if I can find a coupon, I'm using that coupon because you can save a ton of money, especially guys with the grocery bills the way they are. You know, them coupons be coming in. Okay, them coupons be hitting. They be slapping. There's no shame to my game. Oh yeah, I got a coupon for that. I got a coupon for that. Yes, that's a buy one get one. I got one of those. That's 1, 2. Yes, I'll take both. Thank you. Oh yeah, take them coupons. Bump that because they have no pity on you. Trust me when I say these companies. I'm a big fan of, big believer in shrinkflation, where everything, you know, the prices, the only thing that got bigger about any of the portions of anything, especially in the grocery department, is the portions got smaller, the prices got bigger. Okay. I am old enough. I remember when, you know, you go to a fast food place, even a fast food place, and you order a hamburger, you had a legit hamburger. Okay. You go there now, you got a disc. All right. You got more bread than meat. You got more bun than meat patty or whatever. Okay. And that meat ain't even real hamburger. that meat didn't move. Hey, not all of it. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, I have no shame in my game about going to coupon. I'm a big fan of coupon. But Christine did that. And then of course you had Janelle, who was very conservative about how much money she put out. They had to fight Janelle into a bigger house when she was down in Vegas because she wanted to have a smaller home. She was okay with her kids sharing rooms. Robin wanted to have each one of her kids to have their own room. I think Christine wanted her kids to have their own room. Mary, she wanted her kid to have her own room. Of course, Mary wanted to have her own room, but she also wanted to have 4 other rooms in the house. You know, so it's those little things. And I think that gets into the second part of what I'll say is that you have to, once you start getting money and you start your income starts to increase, your mindset has to evolve too, because what happens is you look at your bank account now all of a sudden, where before you were in that fight or flight, that scrimp and save mentality, where you get a check and you spend a check, you get a dollar, you spend a dollar. Now all of a sudden you have an excess of money in your bank account, and when you look at your account, you feel good. The problem is you're also comfortable with your account balance when you go to the bank and you hit balance on the ATM or whatever, ATM, most machine, wherever you're from, what they call it, Mac machine, some areas. But when you go to the ATM, you slide that card in there, you hit balance, and it says 0 or 15 cent. When you have that survival mode where you making dollars stretch, you're used to that. You're okay with seeing that balance that low. But when you're pulling in 6 figures a year, there's no reason why you're sitting there with a 0 or 15 cent, 25-cent balance in your bank account. Your savings is stretched out and your checking is bouncing checks all over town. There's no reason in the world why you're doing that. And I think that they never got past that part. That's why they make terrible investments. That's why Cody doesn't know how to plan, because he never planned on having money. He didn't financially plan for anything. And I think that led to a huge detriment in the family. So it's not, I mean, as bad as it is, I'm not going to both sides it, but it's Cody holds, I think, a primary role in the finances being wasted because he deemed himself the leader, the CEO, the boss. He said it was his responsibility and his duty. Now, if you're going to take stewardship of the family finances, then you need to take full control and ownership of the family finances. You want to inform your team. Shit. SHIT. Send help, inform team. That's what that means for those who don't know, a little acronym knowledge. When you fall off of something, shit. What that means is send help, inform team. Bad things about to happen or whatever. You get that big fat check, like, sure, send help, inform team. And part of being a leader is you always want to inform your team, people who are contributing to your business. If these people are partners, you want your partners on the same page as you. So we all understand what it is we're doing and how we're getting there. When you look at the conversation between Janelle, and I feel bad for Janelle because Janelle was one of those people who was trying to set the example. I feel like she was trying to set the example. Okay, guys, I'm not going to spend all this money, and I'm going to save the money because I want to build a house on Cody Pass. And these other women, woo-wee, they was out there making that shit rain. Okay. But that was the point where if Janelle knew better, each one teach one. That if you know better, you teach your sister wives how this money game work. You pull them up. You got to find that strength in yourself. I understand, Janelle was a little more quiet. She was a little more reserved. She didn't like to cause problems. She didn't like to cause tension. But at the end of the day, she didn't like to cause problems. She didn't like to cause tension. And these folks ran her ass over. And that's why they're sitting there arguing about a $1 million property instead of that $10 million that they put into the bank. You feel me? So that's why I say it's so critical that everybody be involved. Now, of course, you got Robin, who's, most notably was squandering a whole bunch of money. But at the same time, the OG3, they you guys gotta step up. You gotta step up because these people, and this is one of the struggles that I have. I'm gonna be honest. Like when I look at my kids, I like they're good people. My kids are good people, right? They're nice. They're considerate. And the problem that good people encounter is that when they run into bad people, they give bad people the benefit of the damn doubt. And those bad people a lot of times take advantage of them. And it's heartbreaking, right? Because you raise your kids up to be good people, take other people in it, be considerate. And then somebody else raise their family up, get as much as you can, girl. You got to use what you got to get what you want. You got to treat them like the best customer so that you can take care of you and yours. Right. And then when they come into that situation, they're looking at it from the selfish perspective, because the same way we could talk about how Robin or how Mary, Christine, and Janelle were raised, we could also talk about how Robin was raised and how it's not her fault because her mom taught her that this is how you approach these types of relationships. You make sure you get yours out of these relationships. You make sure if you come in that you and your family is taken care of. Bump everybody else. When Robin came into the family, that's when the family first started talking about estates. That's when they started talking about splitting up the money. That's when they started talking about making sure that I have my cut. Even though we're putting apparently they didn't do the debt part. Like you got offset it. But when I come in, I want my cut. I want my share. And that's how the family started to move. And that's how she was raised. And because she was raised that way, she was able to take advantage of the situation. Let's talk a little bit about Cody. When Cody came in, the problem that the OG3 is going to have is that much like what Cody said, the sentiment that he passed on in season 17 when he was talking to Christine, and he said to her that what's half of yours is mine. Not what's half of mine is yours. And you get half of anything I own. We take all your stuff and we cut that in half. And then I take half your shit. That's where Cody is. And when he the crazy part is that I forget where it was like a joke when I was a kid, like it was either in cartoons or whatever. But it's that joke where, he comes in and she has 100% of something. And he says, okay, we're going to divide your assets in half. And then he takes his half, puts it aside, and he said, oh yeah, then we're going to take off for when I gave you this, or that time you went out and you visited your dad, that time you took a trip, that time your kid needed braces. And remember, I gave you that money the time I put gas in your car. The time I came by and I missed that work meeting and I got caught a flat going to Robin's house. And so I'm going to take that share. And by the time you get done, he gets done deducting off of Christine's share. She winds up with like 5% out of the 100% of her stuff. So when she sells her house, he was planning on taking all the proceeds from the sale of her house. And how do I know this? James, how do you know this? Are you going to let? No, he was going to take all of it. He said he was going to take all of it. How do I know that? What did he say? He said that when you sell your house, we need to put that money back in the Coyote Pass. So when you sell your house, we'll use your house money to pay Coyote Pass off. Then you'll take a piece of Coyote Pass, and that'll be your section of Coyote Pass will be your share of the property. But Cody's name is on all of it. So if you pay off my shit, isn't it my shit? Pardon my French. It's my stuff. If you pay, look, simple talk. If you and your friend go buy a car, the car is in your friend's name. Your friend has that good credit, so they put that car in their name. You're paying on that car, right? And he said, oh, you know what? I'm a little short. Could you pay the car off? We just pay the car off and we'll be done with it. You pay that car off, that's his car, her car. That's your friend's car. All the, I thought we understood, we had an agreement that doesn't mean nothing because the title is in his name or her name. In this case, Coyote Pass is in Cody's name. So if they pay that off, you just bought Coyote damn Pass. And that's all they did. That's why, even when we watched Mary go over to Cody's house and slide him a check, and then Janelle send her check in, that's what I was saying that following same Sunday night. They just bought him Coyote Pass. Because when you gave him the money, you didn't insist that we go down. You should have met his ass at the title company. When you gave him that check, you should have met his ass at the title company and said, before I turn this over, we're going to talk to the title people. We're going to change the titles to all these properties and include everybody on each one of the lots so that we're all partners in everything that goes on this lot. And that's if you decided you're going to divide it equally among everybody there. Honestly, I don't think that they should divide it equally amongst everybody there. I think Cody and Robin should get like the little 4 acres on the corner because you guys helped them buy the McMansion with your money. You guys already got your share, unless we're going to throw the McMansion, unless we're going to come down with the McMansion deed and refi that house. But I wouldn't necessarily, and this gets into another thing. Just real quick. I wouldn't trust them with that either. Because part of the problem that you have with Cody, because like I said, he doesn't do any financial planning. That's terrible financial planning because he doesn't do a lot of that. Even with the McMansion or Coyote Pass, this dude was always late paying his taxes, property taxes. They will take your shit. Pardon my friend, I'm just cussing. They will take your stuff. They will take your property if you don't pay your dang on taxes. Trust me, local. Okay, local. They will take your stuff and they will sheriff sale your damn house or your property out from under your ass at the courthouse if you're not paying your property taxes. This dude be late on his property taxes all the time, which, by the way, and this is part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of co-signing for people, which, by the way, is a fantastic way for you to get other people to pay for it. Because and I think that this is part of the reason also why Christine was so willing to walk away from Coyote Pass. Because if you have your name on Coyote Pass, when this fool doesn't want to pay the taxes on Coyote Pass, now you got to kick in money. Or if I don't kick in the money, we lose it. So, I ain't got it. I ain't got the money. You got $10 million damn dollars. What about $10 million that you son of a bitch? I ain't got it. I don't know where that money went. Robin went to the cruise and she bought some more art. She bought some finger paints, some finger paint art. So we coming up short on tax money. So now Christine has to come up with the taxes. Her, Janelle, and Mary got to come up with the taxes to pay off Cowdy Pass, so that doesn't get taken. Okay, you understand what I mean? That's the only reason why I wouldn't be a big fan of like let's jump on the title or deed with the McMansion, because then he'll stop paying taxes altogether. He might stop paying a damn mortgage. And I ain't got it this month, y'all. We're gonna have to go ahead and give up something to get this mortgage paid off. We're gonna lose $1.7 million. Like, so yeah, you got to give me my money up front, player. I'm sorry, your credit is dog shit. So we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But yeah, that's just kind of where I am with it. I'll get into the family finances because I had a lot to say about like the development of the houses and how when they purchased the houses, how everybody kind of lost the plot on the houses, because technically, I'm gonna give a little preview. When they bought those houses in Las Vegas, they couldn't afford those houses in Las Vegas. That was an unnecessary purchase. I get shooting for the stars and trying to come up, but sometimes you just take too much. You bite off too much, more than you can chew. And I'm gonna tell you right now, these companies, these businesses, these banks, these mothers ain't loyal. So you call yourself investing in them and trusting them, you gonna get, I'm gonna go down there, they're gonna do these new developments, and you get these new builds or whatever, these new home builds, and your taxes, property taxes, your property taxes will be one amount. You'll get your house built, and when you go in, you thinking that your mortgage is basically three components. It's your principal, interest, that's one payment to the bank. Usually that's worked out and that's a steady number if you have a conventional like 15-year, 10-year, 15-year, or 30-year mortgage. That number doesn't change. That'll be the same throughout your mortgage, depending on how it's set up. Then, of course, you have your principal, interest. That's one component that goes to the bank. Then you have your taxes and your insurance. And those numbers could fluctuate. And again, your property taxes, that's your local government. That's why you got to pay attention to what these, don't be the OG3. Pay attention to what is going on and what decisions they down there making at your local government. Some of the biggest thieves you will ever see working your local government. They'll be down there slumping and skimming and trimming and doing everything else, shaking and baking down there and they're not doing like in the federal government, they'll be stealing millions. Okay, when they get locked up for corruption, they get locked up for millions of dollars. These jokers be down there stealing $5,000-$10,000 a shot, but it is more impactful when they do it on a local level. But anywho, when those numbers come in, they could be relatively low. And then especially on new builds, secret to the sauce, you build a new house, they're basing your taxes on the land, right? No house. When you get your house built, all of a sudden when your tax bill comes in, that's how people are finding themselves in deep water as far as their mortgage payments, because all of a sudden their mortgage payment doubles or triples, because now they reassess the property and they say, oh, you put a 4,000 square foot home on there plus a pool. That's very valuable. And unless you get a homestead or whatever, but certain deductions, they take it and reassess your house. Now all of a sudden you go from paying like $1,000 to like $6,000-$7,000, depending on what part of the country you live in. Some cases like $10,000-$12,000 for for that same piece of property. What? Per year, which is big. That's a big deal, right? Per month, So I can see that situation happening. Even like, and that goes back to Vegas. That also is stretching into Arizona and Cowdy Pass. When they pay taxes, their tax bills were relatively low for all that property, 14 acres. I think they were paying, their tax bill was like $5,000, and Cody was still late. If they build houses on those properties, especially the elaborate big ass houses they were talking about building on Cowdy Pass, they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford to build those houses. They couldn't afford to live there. When they built those houses in Las Vegas, they would have done better to buy smaller homes. You could have bought a whole row house. You could have bought a bunch of townhomes. You could have bought 4 townhomes next to each other and paid them bad boys off. And you would have been in a better situation than they were in leaving Las Vegas. Even if they moved from Las Vegas or they moved around, they would have been able to, there was a possibility they could have paid those houses off. And then when they went to Arizona, they would have had money in the pocket that they could have used, actual legit money that was their money. And it also would have been a forced thing where you're trying to balance a whole bunch of mortgages, right? That's one thing. The second thing, the last thing I'll say on this whole thing that I really want to talk about next time we talk about the finances, I think I might have some special guests to talk about the family finances. But the last thing I want to say about the family finances, when they moved from Vegas, hell yeah, they was planning. The whole point of them selling those houses the way they did was they were stealing that money. In fact, I'm gonna do a video on it. They were stealing that money. Okay, that's what they were doing. Robin and Cody wanted the OG3 to sell their homes, put it back into the family fund, and they were going to take that money. And I will support it in the video with some clips. All right. Okay. All right. Let's do the call-ins. Thank you guys so much for that. Got to go back through and look at some of these comments. Oh, before I get too far afield, got Brittany Not Brittany with a super chat, $9.99 super chat. Cody thinks he made the money alone because he really believes he's the reason why they got the show. Producers like Christine, that's how the offer even came about. That's right. The offer came about even from the books telling. The offer came about because Christine was involved with an organization that was trying to normalize polygamy and, put polygamy in the forefront. So she was part of an organization that was their whole thing. They would go do talks and things of that nature. And then there were television producers who were in touch with the organization. And she found out about it. They offered her a couple things. She always turned them down. Cody found out that they were offering her stuff. And he told her, next time they come to you and offer you an opportunity to be on TV, I want you to tell me about it. And you ask me and we'll go in and talk about it. That's how the whole Sister Wives thing, TLC thing came down. From my understanding, it started off, it was supposed to be a documentary. But the family was afraid to do a documentary because, which makes sense. Because once they were like, once it comes out that we're a polygamous family, this could negatively impact us. So it might not be worthwhile for us only to have like an hour show. So if we could have, an hour documentary or a 2-hour documentary. So if we could have a show, kind of like K+8 or whatever, then it might be worth, might make more sense. And that's how Sister Wives was born. But it actually, a lot of that negotiation happened because of Christine and through Christine. And it was directed. She was the one that actually brought this opportunity to the family. So that's true. And I think that in addition to Cody thinking he made the money alone because he believes he was the star of the show, absolutely. I've said this before, and some people kind of got mad at me. I think that when the show first started, Cody, Robin, and I think even the producer, the one that left, I think that in their minds when this show first started, this show was supposed to be about Cody and Robin's love story. The OG3 were supposed to be the nasty old wives who were jealous of the young wife and the new love. And they were the obstacles. Dare I say, they were supposed to be the antagonists of the story. And that they were supposed to be the bad ones. The problem that they had, a little miscalculation, the problem they had was a lot of the people who watched the show identified with the OG3 way more than they identified with the mistress. Oh, I'm sorry, with Robin. Most of them saw themselves in the first wife position being cheated on or neglected by their husband for a younger woman. And therefore, they identify with the stories of the OG3 way more than they identify with the woman who was coming in disrupting or breaking up the family, the home wrecker. You know what I mean? So I think that, because if you look at how uh everybody was even laid out as far as their costume and their wardrobe. Little insider baseball. Uh little inside baseball. Story time. And I'm kind of on the fence whether I should even mention this, but story time, little about James. All right. I've done a lot of different things in my lifetime. I've had a lot of opportunities. And so I've really identified, like, I had a video, motivational video I was talking about, where I talked about Anthony Mackie. And I had said in that, and he had said in that his video, and I've always believed this, that nobody is self-made. We're kind of selected for opportunities. And I've been selected for a lot of fantastic opportunities. So I've had an opportunity to do a lot of different things in my lifetime. One of the things that I've done is that I am a part of a union. The union is the Screen Actors Guild. I'm an actor, right? And I've been in movies, I've been in television shows, so on and so forth. And the thing is that, especially when you work with bigger production companies or studios, when you go for these shows, they approve everything. You can't wear a shirt, a hat, earrings, glasses, jewelry, none of it, sneakers, without somebody's approval. Somebody approves your entire wardrobe, down to the last, like how you cut your hair is approved. Everything is ran up the pole, and they take pictures of you and they send them off, and they, I like this, I don't like that. I'm, take this off, put this on, blah, blah, blah. That's why you don't see a lot of tags or labels in the show, because they don't have permission to have those tags or labels in the show. That's why people aren't walking around with name brand stuff on, with like big Adidas across their chest, or Nike, Nike swoop across their back, because you have to pay for that shit. Either you pay or they pay you. They pay you for product placement, or you pay them. And in some cases, like Apple, for a long time, they didn't want their products on some shows, especially if it was connected to somebody doing something evil or wrong. So if you're an evil person or wicked person, they didn't want your shit. Like, you never saw a villain pop open a laptop and they got the Apple in the back of it. All right. Because they didn't want to be associated with that, because that goes against their brand. It hurts as far as they're concerned, it hurts their brand. I say all that to say this. When you look at the wardrobe difference between what Robin was wearing versus what the OG3 was wearing, I'm telling you that there's a substantive difference between the clothes that she was wearing. Even Cody was out there cutting down trees and knocking down trees. Even in, I think it was like the second season, like the second or third episode, he's out there knocking down freaking trees in a button-down t-shirt, a button-down shirt. Okay, nobody goes out and knocks down trees and does yard work with a button-down shirt. Okay, he was trying to maintain a certain status or a certain attractiveness on the show. The same thing with Robin. Robin was walking around. I don't think she filmed herself walking around in a pair of flat shoes just about the entire way until maybe about season 7 or 8 was the first time you really saw Robin walking around with flat shoes on. It was well after they had already purchased their homes in Vegas. But just that, like, she will always walk around with either heels or wedges. She'll walk around. She would have on designer jeans, shirts, and things of that nature. She would always have on designer jewelry, because she was supposed to be the attractive one that everybody was supposed to flock to. Even when she would talk in the first, go back, look at the first few seasons. They would be talking about polygamy, and she would be the one, even though she had never participated personally in polygamy, she would be the one answering what it's like to be a wife, what it's like to be a suffering person, what's jealousy like, what's it like for a new wife to come into the family. And she was the one doing all the explanation. Why? Because it was supposed to be her damn show. Listen to what I'm saying. It was supposed to be Cody and Robin's show, not the OG3 show. They took over. It was a hostile takeover. So when Cody looked at this, yeah, it was supposed to be Cody's money. He takes ownership of this money because he thinks the show is about him. One, two, because of how he was brought up in the religion that he was a part of, and the community he was a part of, as well as his social influences. He thought that anything that a man made, as far as the family was concerned, belonged to the man. That basic, misogynistic and chauvinistic trait, like everything is mine, nothing is yours. So I mean, I think that's how they pretty much were trying to roll with it. So I 100% agree. Brittany, not Brittany, coming through. Let me drop you a little something in the chat. Oh, here we go. Here, a fun one. Got a girl popping them collars. We got a new member in the house, Raiders Mom. Welcome to the Armada. Welcome. Awesomeness. You'll be able to check out. I'll be doing Motivational Monday this week. I'm very excited about it. I had a little conversation I had with my daughter. I'm going to share that on Motivational Mondays. That's a members video that I do. And then later I try to drop it into the, depending on what I talk about. If it's too personal, I probably won't drop it into the general thing just because, sometimes folks come in, we got some infiltrators. But for the most part, if I give like a good word, like I feel like I gave like something that other folks could use, definitely going to drop it in. So don't worry about that. We have another new member. So welcome. We have another new member, Kitty, 1838. Welcome, Kitty. Welcome to the Armada. Again, check out that Monday. Let me give you guys a little something. Kitty and Raider Ma in the house. Give you guys a little something. Got to dance with them. Thank you guys so much for joining our Armada. Appreciate you. Yeah, but we're gonna have some fun. Monday. Oh, Betty, it's gonna be a video, so it'll come out and you'll be able to watch it anytime you want. It'll be available to you. Betty in the house. What's up, Betty? Girl. Keeping it fucking fresh in West Virginia. Take me home, West Virginia, to a place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take me home. Got a special place in my heart for, oh boy. Seemed like a good dude. Oh, well, we got some phone calls. Let's hit these speak pipes. Very excited about this. I think I figured out a way that I could play it online. I'm very excited about this. I could play it online and you guys will be able to hear it better. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear it better. John Denver, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, John Denver. You guys got it. That's my boy. But let me know if you guys can hear this okay. I hope you can. Let's check it out. We got first caller was from first message was from Tina. Again, that's speakpipe.com/MyTakeOnReality. This is a weekly thing. We're gonna when I do the lives, of course, I'm gonna bring some folks up so we can hear what they have to say. This is a great way. I find that this is a great way. If you don't want to call in, especially to the Sunday shows where I do the lives all the time, and you guys can call in. If you don't want to call in, this is a great way for you to be able to participate without having the pressures of being on the live and on the spot. Like I understand that's not for everybody. So let's take a listen to what Tina has to say, and I'll give my response.
Hello, James. I have more questions and comments. All three of the OG wives had jobs outside of the show. We always discuss how Robin didn't have a job, but neither did Cody. If Robin was overwhelmed by running Sister Wives Closet, why didn't Cody run it for her while she and the wives could just be the face and branding for the company? Cody claimed he wanted to be the leader of the business. Why was it Robin that kept requesting help from the other wives when it was a family business and Cody wanted to be in charge? Was he the one that actually ran the company, and when it became a massive failure, did the wives cover him in the cloak of charity?
Yeah, there's a couple things that I want to say about that. And did you guys hear that? Okay, give me a one in the chat if you think you heard it pretty good. I didn't see any ones yet, so I'm gonna give it a second. Yeah, got some ones. Awesome, awesome. We cracked the code. Very excited, very excited. All right, so thank you guys so much. I'm powered up by the ones, the power of the ones. And not that, not that other one. This one, not the other one. You know what I mean? Got the number one. Yeah, anytime somebody shoot, little side note, anytime somebody shoots you the bird, like, yeah, I am number one. Thank you. but back to Tina's question. She had asked a question about like when they did Sister Wives Closet, wouldn't it have made sense for them to assign it to the wives? Yes, it would have made sense for them to assign it to the wives. The problem is, essentially, and this is my feeling, that, this is how I see it as far as the Sister Wives Closet is concerned. I don't think Cody wanted to be in charge of Sister Wives Closet. Cody didn't want to run Sister Wives Closet. Cody and Robin just wanted to be in charge of Sister Wives Closet money. When they were talking about Sister Wives Closet going, make all, this $2 million investment from the Shark Tank or whatever, and he was talking about all this money was supposed to come into Sister Wives Closet, that's when Cody became interested in Sister Wives Closet. Before that, he had distinctly referred to Sister Wives Closet as a hobby business. This is a business that's not going to make any money. This is basically a for-fun business. This is some bullshit business. Okay, this is something my wife's going to do, just kind of twiddle their thumbs. But all of a sudden, as in history, this actually happened historically, where ladies started businesses and their husbands turn their nose up at it. Oh, they're stupid ass business. The first, Madam Walker, first black, Madam C.J. Walker, first black woman millionaire, I think she's accredited with. But fantastic entrepreneur. But her husband he thought she had a side business. Revolutionized hair care products. She made a shit ton of money. Okay. And as soon as the money start rolling in, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, how much are you making? Oh, you need my guidance on how to run this business that apparently has been extremely successful up until this point without me. But I need to kick this in the gear and take control of it, because now I really want it to be successful because I'm taking it over. And I think that that's kind of where Cody was. When he thought that business was actually going to do some shit, was going to really do some numbers, that's when he all of a sudden wanted to be in charge of the Sister Wives Closet. Up until that point, he didn't give a damn what them women were doing. He didn't give a damn about them pictures, them rings, none of that stuff. The problem that they had too is that, and this is me being a jerk. But I haven't seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I issue challenges to any other YouTuber out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen one other thing that Robin has ever done that was artistic since the Sister Wives Closet stuff. I never, like, even with the Sister Wives Closet stuff, she showed up with a book that she was supposed to be doodling in, where she was making designs, but I never saw her doodle jack shit. I never saw her doodle anything. I never saw her make a design or a picture of anything. The only time I heard of Robin actually doing something to that degree was when she was supposed to be coming up with the jewelry. And that could have been something that she could have said to the guy, like, took the designs from the guy. Oh, could you, maybe give me some designs or whatever. And the guy, renders designs or whatever. But I never saw her make anything. And so it's funny to me, like, even Cody, like, supposed to be this great artist where he designed these pieces for Robin and Christine and Mary. I never saw him do anything beyond that. Like, the only person who actually did paintings and things of that nature was Mary. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying essentially is I don't even know if she was actually designing the jewelry, but I know she wanted to be in charge of the business. She wanted to be in charge of the successful business. And she wanted these other women to work for her. Same thing with Cody. Cody didn't want to run the business. He just wanted to cash the checks because that's why he was okay with this being their business and them running it. But he wanted to be in charge of the money and where the money went because, again, in his mind, anything that came into the family belonged to him and was his. And so I think that was like a big thing. Hopefully that answered your question. She had another call in. Don't worry, guys. It's only I think I only have 5 messages.
Hello, James. I would like to know exactly how the TLC money was split. Was it split 5 ways equally or 6 ways with the 6th portion going into savings? Did Cody get an equal share even though he didn't have any of the household and childcare expenses of any of the wives? If he could spend his portion on anything he wanted, did he just choose to spend most of it on Robin and her household, which is why she got a nanny and didn't have to work because it was a 2-income household instead of 1 like the rest of the wives?
This is an excellent point. Excellent point. First, from my understanding, the checks from TLC went into the family fund, and the checks from the family fund were dispersed amongst the people by Cody to the individual wives as needed. And from what I gather in listening to what they talk about, again, a lot of this stuff is improved because they never sat down and explained this is this, that is that. But from what I gather, the wives were expected to have their own income, and the family fund was going to supplement anywhere that they came up short. And that supplementation would have to be upon negotiation with Cody. So you would have to explain to Cody, ask Cody, then explain to Cody why you need X amount of dollars out of the family fund, which he has taken on as his money. Now, Alice cites an excellent point. Or I'm sorry, Tina cites an excellent point. Excellent point, Tina. If a smart thing to do would have been to break off a little bit of fund money for everybody, because you making good money. There's no reason why you got to live like a pauper. Nobody's saying that unless your goals or your ambitions demand so that you have to make certain sacrifices. Maybe you want to get that big house or you want to get that nice car. So you kind of save or you put aside and do without so you can have that big thing, which I understand. And I'm all for that. But at the same time, it would make sense to me if you're making a good amount of money that you could live a little better. You could have that night out where you go get something to eat at the restaurant. You order some pizza. Pizza now is expensive as shit, but you order some pizza. I remember back in the day, it used to be when I was in college, I survived. There was a place not far from my college campus where you could get 2 large pizzas for $10. So they're basically $5 a piece. I used to order 2 pizzas. I would eat pizza that night for dinner, and I would just save pizza. And so I would have pizza for breakfast. I'd have pizza in my room for lunch if I needed it, or maybe even pizza for dinner the next night. Like now, $20 to get you 1 pizza, maybe even like a personal pan pizza. I don't know. But I'm off on a tangent. But the whole thing is that you could afford to do little nice things here and there. But it would make sense, especially being as though you're on a TV show that could end at any time, that you are always putting money aside for the rainy day and for the event that everybody knows is coming, where this show is getting canceled and those checks stop. So where I see Robin and Cody at now is a scary place. Like if I was them, I would be scared as hell because you just bought a $2.1 million house. The house you sold had, it had a mortgage and it had equity loans on top of the mortgage. So even though you sold the house for $1.7 million, you didn't get $1.7 million for that house. Then you turned around and almost doubled up and took another house on for $2.1 million. Not close to doubling up, but significantly more. And you're paying on that house. And you're at the tail end of this show. Like, this show is not going to last. Like, this is not another 19 seasons worth of shows. Like, you guys are already in trouble. Like, I'm watching. I'm gonna be honest. I watched the trailer today, and my lady was showing me the trailer, and I was watching the trailer today. If this is all y'all got in the second half of this season, y'all not gonna make it. This might be it. Okay, because even though they shot season 20, they have it in the can. That doesn't mean that they have to air it. There could be a thing where they say, you know what, we have it. We could actually mess around and lose money. Because we'll have to pay them out. Because my understanding is they don't get paid for shooting. They don't get paid for shooting, for filming. They get paid when they edit the episodes together, and the episodes that they appear on, they get paid for. That's a different thing. Like, if you're in SAG or if you're in the Screen Actors Guild, you're in a union, your pay structure is way different. You get paid every time you show up. You show up for a costume fitting, you get paid. You show up for a table read, you get paid. You show up for you got an on call, you're there on call because they might shoot your scene, but they eventually don't get to your scene, but you were there for the day, you get paid. Hell, if you do extra shit, like you drive on camera, you get paid more. Like, so a lot of that stuff is worked out. And that's part of the reason why reality TV is so prevalent now, because they don't have to pay you for a lot of stuff that they would actually have to pay traditional actors for. And that's how they get around it. So when with them, they're not getting a benefit by airing season 20, season 21, 20 and 21. They actually could put themselves in a situation where they actually lose money, especially depending on what the viewership is like for season 2021. So I wouldn't, if I was them, I wouldn't take that gamble. You need to take everything you made and everything you have left and put it aside, especially if you don't plan on working anymore. Like, if you guys plan on getting jobs, then do what you got to do. But even where I'm at, like with that, if I was in this show, I wouldn't want to go from a reality TV star, back to work. Like, I would try to figure it out so I wouldn't have to work $10 million. That's why I would be trying to put that money aside. But hopefully I answered your question. Great questions. They're great commentary, Tina. Excellent. You guys can participate just by hitting that speakpipe.com/MyTakeOnReality. You too could be on here. If you don't want to have your commentary or your message played, just leave a message in the beginning of it. No, James, don't play my shit, my stuff online, please. and I won't play it. Or you could put it in as anonymous. That's fine. We had an anonymous last week, which is fine. Linda from California.
James, I want to talk about Gene Hackman and Cody Brown. I think there's some parallels there, and I'm curious of whether Gene Hackman could be a wake-up call for Cody if he were reflective. And even though I know it's a rhetorical question, because the answer is Cody's never reflective, I just think it's very interesting when you have someone like Gene Hackman who had father issues. There's an interview with him on Actors Workshop, and he tears up talking about his father abandoning him and the family when he was 13 in the final wave goodbye. And then he turns out to be a substandard father too. I think that's super interesting. And then, of course, we all know the story. Gene Hackman found passed away in his home, 2 weeks, no contact with his kids. He was married to his first wife over 30 years, so I'm sure those kids had loyalty to their mom. And he had this new young thing, so maybe she forbid contact. I guess I'm trying to reconcile in my mind. My first reaction was shame on those kids. And now when I reflect to the Cody Gene Hackman parallel, maybe those kids were just in survival mode themselves. Anyway, what do you think? Have a great day.
Okay, that was Linda from California. Here's what I think, Linda. I think that excellent points. I think that when we talk about um, like the dissolution of paternal and and paternal ties, where you have parents who leave kids or aren't really dealing with kids, or kids who cut the parents off for their own mental health. I think that that's real, and I think that we have to be very careful, as with everything. You got to be careful about trying to whitewash everybody and say that everybody's situation is the same, that, it's always the kids are always awesome and the parents are always neglectful if they're not trying to stay in touch with the kids. I think that at some point we have to acknowledge that, some assholes are born. Okay. And sometimes, the parents have to take a step back from toxic children too. Like, I think that that is a thing. Like, sometimes that's the case. So with Gene Hackman's situation, I'm not sure about how his kids were and what his relationship was with, as far as his kids are concerned. I will say this though. I do believe in generational curses. I think that generationally, when you're brought up and you experience certain things in your childhood, there is an opportunity where you could pass that negative experience on to your children. If you grow up in a household where the father or the mom isn't really around or involved with the kids, then when you grow up, that activity or that type of parenting is normalized. So there's a possibility that when you have children of your own, you treat your kids the same way, you know, the same way your parents treated you. And I say that, good or bad, this works, because I remember there's a few times where when I'll be talking to my mom. Part of the reason why I paused, my mom passed away years ago. I've shared that here before, but every time, like, sometimes it hits you different. But um, when you talking to your kids, there's times when I'll be talking to my kids and I'll say something that my mom, and I'll be like, I sound just like my mom, or I sound just like my dad. I mean, that's some shit that they said to me. Especially you get hot, you be like, look, you got nothing, and you say something, you're like, oh, that's exactly I sound like my parents. And I think that it goes both ways, like good or bad, like that happens. And sometimes there's a fear that you'll do the same thing that your parents did. When your parents did something and you didn't like it, you might say, this is part of the change that can happen. You might say, you know what, I didn't like the way my parents did this, or I didn't appreciate the way my parents did that, and I'm committed to not doing that to my kids, so I'm going to make a change. And that does happen too. Like, so I think that a lot of this is very malleable. It can change depending on the circumstances and the situations. Like, I think everybody can operate or handle it a little bit different. So with Cody's case, there's a lot of examples that I think that as he's dealing with his kids, I don't know his kids, maybe, for all I know, they could all be jerks. The OG3 kids could all be jerks, but they don't come off that way to me on the show. And it's painful to watch because you can see the pain in their description of the loss of their relationship with their father. And I don't like to see people in pain. So if there's an opportunity there for him, and as a person who's lost people along the way, there's a scene from Al Pacino in a movie, Any Given Sunday, where he says that, as I get older, it just seems like all I do is just lose stuff. Like, I'm losing this, or I'm losing that. Like, some guys, they get older, they lose, people, they get older, they lose their hair, they lose their teeth, they lose their friends, they lose their family. As you get older, you start to experience, that, death in a different kind of way. When you're a young person and somebody passes away, it's a weird thing. Like, oh my goodness, what? That person was a baby. Why? They're too young to be taken. I'm at that weird age I was watching Bill Burr. He had a thing where he said, I'm at the drop dead age. Like I'm not old enough that people get kicked off for natural causes yet. But I'm at the age where people drop dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just what happened? He was he was at the gym, he walking through the, thing, he fell out, and then that was it. I'm at the age where where people blow their backs out trying to put their pants on. They losing shit. And as you come into that realization that things are as fleeting as they are, nothing is permanent. You can lose people that quick. It seems like a waste that you don't understand it. The people around you aren't permanent either, and that you can lose them. And even in the face of tragic loss, you still hold to the idea that I am okay with these people not being around, because they'll come back around when they're ready. But you realize that anything could happen. Even the young people, folks fall, folks get in car accidents all the time. Folks fall down the steps all the time. Shit, more people die in the damn bathtub. I remember, Christine, more people get killed from shark attacks than toasters. More toasters kill more people than sharks. That's true. But more people die in tubs, slipping and falling in damn tubs, washing their ass, than cooking toast. How about that? You know what I mean? And when you look at how fragile life is and how quickly you could lose people for dumbass reasons, things that you never even thought of, it makes it seem more salient that you want to be more assertive in being a part of your kids' lives. Because when you get older, I'm not at that point yet, but as you get older, you don't want to be in a situation where, you're about to kick off, and I mean this to the heart of my soul. You don't want to be in a situation where you're on your deathbed about to kick off your last couple breaths, and all you are is surrounded by a bunch of stuff. Like, oh, I got a nice painting there. I got a beautiful lamp, antique. Look at my big ass mansion is empty. What does that mean? Because when you kick off, all that shit's gonna go to somebody. It's not. I guarantee you, it's not going to stay empty for long. Like, that house is gone. Okay, somebody's gonna sell that house and go on vacation, or somebody's gonna move into it, and they're not gonna think about you twice because you weren't around in their life. I say the same thing about some of these jobs. Like, don't go to work and kill yourself for some job. Because when you die, nobody has ever been on their deathbed and say, I wish I sent one more email. Ugh. Like, that's just not a thing. You know what I mean? Don't let these jobs kill you. Don't let this stuff change the pursuit of this stuff, because I think that's 90% of what destroyed the family. We could blame Robin, but I think it was like just a material greed, whether it's from Robin or from Cody, that destroyed this family. This TV show, them being on the TV show, growing their egos, yes. But I also think it was the access and opportunity of them having so much financial wealth that they're not used to, that they always were so desirous of, that once they achieved that thing, they find themselves in a situation where that became the only focus that they were worried about. And they didn't, the hell with the kids, the hell with these people. It's all about how much money I can acquire for myself. And at the end of your life, when you're sitting in that $2.1 million house by your damn self, that ain't gonna matter to you. You're gonna want to see the face of your kids. You're gonna want to see the face of your grandchildren. That's who you want. When you shuffle off this mortal coil, I guarantee that's gonna be your last thoughts. But that's just my take. Oh, Ivana said her best friend was passed. Yeah. Nobody is guaranteed. So her best friend passed. That's terrible. Let's put some hearts in the chat for Ivana. And that's the truth. Like, you just gotta, and I know it's something that everybody says, but there's a damn reason everybody says it, because it's true. Like, that's why everybody says that. I'm not unique. You know what I mean? Folks understand that because it's true. Like you gotta cherish these relationships while you have them, and you don't realize what you're missing. That might be my message on Monday because I'm kind of stirred about that. But you don't really realize what you have until you don't have it around anymore. You know, take a lot of shit for granted. Like you take for granted that your kids are always going to be around and they'll be fine. And oh, they mad at me, but they'll be fine. They'll be around. But nobody is guaranteed anything. So take advantage while you can. And if you don't, be okay with it. And that's cold as hell. Like, please understand that's it's cold where I said it, and I mean that. Like, if you're gonna ignore your people, you have to be okay with that decision. That if something happens, you're not gonna sit around and I wish I could, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You are making a choice. Cody is making a damn choice right now. And this is what he's deciding to do. You're deciding not to be around these kids, then you have to deal with all that goes around with that, comes into that. Next caller. Thank you so much, Linda from California. Linda from Cali. I would play that California, but that's copyrighted. Next up, we got Jamie.
Hi, James. This is Jamie. Love your show. You are my absolute favorite.
Thank you.
I wanted to address, I watched the Hawaii trip episode where everybody was making such a big deal about how Christine responded to McKelty's news that Tony wanted to marry her after only 5 months, but were completely ecstatic for Maddie to marry Caleb so soon. People seem to forget that the family, especially Cody, already knew about the character of Caleb. Caleb was already a member of their extended family. Caleb's sister was married to Cody's brother. So when Cody's brother was killed in a motorcycle accident, Caleb immediately left his entire life, which was out of state, to move back in to take care of his sister, who was a young widow, and his nephews. He stepped up when times got tough to help raise his and Cody's nephews. They say that says a lot about the character that the young man has, that he would give up his entire life to, help his family. I think everyone seems to forget that the family already knew the character of Caleb, so they knew that if he would do that for his sister and nephews, that Maddie would be completely, sorry about the dogs, that Maddie would be completely safe with him. I just like your opinion on the differences.
Okay. Little shout out to Jamie. Thank you so much for that. I think that that's a good point. And the one thing I will say is this: that's one of the struggles of having kids when you have more than one child. Okay. You should not have this issue if you have one child. But if you have more than one child, it's the recognition of your child. Like, your kids. And I think that that's part of it too, is that when Madison came with Caleb Brush into the family, like you said, the family was more familiar with Caleb. They knew what kind of character Caleb had because he was involved with helping to raise his kids. He made sacrifices for his family. So he's an outstanding young man who made sacrifices for his family. So this guy is the kind of guy that you want your daughter to marry because you understand that he'll do whatever is necessary to take care of his family. That is one aspect of it. And I think that that's an important aspect. But I also think that when you look at, we'll do the converse situation, you have Tony, who the family was not familiar with. And this guy is just kind of floating into the family. And even though McKelty was close to him and felt like she knew him, the family didn't know him. So because they were helping to make that decision, they were looking at it like, well, I don't really know this dude. I don't know what he's about. I don't know whether he's, for real or not. I don't know how serious he is. I don't know where they are. That's one aspect. That's one difference. I think the other difference is, and this is more important, especially when you have more than one child, it doesn't seem fair. And especially with the kids, like, It doesn't see, it's not fair. You don't do this for this one, and you make me do this, and you didn't ask so and so to do it. Because you're different people. You have different needs. You're different folks. Kids mature, even though they grow up in the same house. They're different people. You know what I mean? You could have one child grow up in the house with the same parents, same situation, be super responsible. Same child, same household. It's crazy irresponsible. Flighty as hell, just making offshoot decisions. Madison, at least from my exposure with her on the show, she always came off as a person who had her head about her. She always seemed to know what was going on. She seemed to be aware. She seemed to be involved. She seemed very mature for her age. I'm not going to say like, oh, she was wise beyond her years. I'm not a big fan of that. She was good for where she was. Okay. She was mature for her age. Like she was not ready to start being an adult. She was mature for her age. So because she was mature for her age, if she came to you and she's not one to jump in and out of relationships, she's not one to be very flighty. She's one to make more calculated decisions. When she does make that life-changing decision, you might look at that and say, you know what? I'm not really as much worried about whether she put any thought into this because I know how she thinks and I know she did. So my only real question is, do I like this dude? And the answer is yes, because I know him and I respect him and I like him. So that makes the transition a little easier. With McKelty always came off as flighty. She always came off as like a little extra. That's what we used to say back in the day. She extra, right? So extra, you call it etc. All right. So because she's extra that way and she's flighty and she makes rash decisions, one minute she wants to be an astronaut, next minute she wants to be a clothing designer, next minute she wants to be something else, one minute she wants to be in school, next minute she wants to quit school, drop out of school, and she wants to work, and you can't nail her down in these life decisions because it's always evolving. When she comes to you and says, this is the guy I met 6 months ago and I want to marry him, it just seems like another addition to the long list of rash decisions that she made. And as a parent looking at that, you very well may say, look, I take marriages very serious. And I understand that marriages, don't seem like a whole lot now or as important. I don't think about marriages, I guess, in a traditional sense, where you get married and that and it's just romance. I think of marriages as one, marriage is a mentality. So if you get married, how you approach your marriage and your commitment in your heart, that's where the marriage lies. The first part. The second part, though, is that when you get married, that civil union is very serious. It's very serious. So you can get one of the most financially devastating things you can do is get divorced. Okay. Divorce, you can get bankrupted. Divorce can lead to bankruptcy because you can't afford to pay your bills. You can't afford to, and this is before you actually get your decree in. Like it could ruin you financially. And this is beyond like, oh, she'll take half and all that. It's just that you're used to two incomes. You're restricted now to one. You got used to living on two incomes. You've developed bills, et cetera, a certain lifestyle. Now all of a sudden you have one income and that can ruin you. So this is a long-lasting, long-reaching endeavor. And for somebody who is very flighty and makes rash decisions, this is not something that you can jump into because as crazy as it is, you can quickly jump into a marriage and it's very difficult to hop out of that marriage, especially as you start to acquire stuff. So yeah, I understand why, the difference between the two kids, a rule isn't a rule. Like in parenting, there's no hard, fast rules. You have to take your kids for who they are, and that's also a service to your child because at the same time, you don't want to if you have a child who has a good head on their shoulders and they don't require a lot of supervision, you don't want to, stifle their creativity, stifle their light by being overbearing to that child, because they're responsible. They've demonstrated that they can handle that responsibility. At the same time, if you have a child that's not responsible, that is very reckless, they have the YOLO lifestyle where, you only live once. And usually when people say YOLO, what they mean is, I'm about to do something that's incredibly stupid and could either potentially end my life or ruin my life. YOLO. Okay. So when you have somebody like that, you might have to keep them a little closer so that kind of like when they 2 years old, you can prevent them from hurting themselves. Right. I'm just trying to get you to 18, baby girl, but that's a different, like, you have to gauge that based on your child. So in this situation, I can totally see where the family might be a little more reserved about Tony coming into the family. I know Tony and McKelty, did that whole joke about Christine getting married so soon, based on how they treated Tony. But unless it was something a little more nefarious, I understand why they did it. Brittany, not Brittany, with 499 super chat. I'm definitely side-eyeing your judgment if you've been thrown from a horse. Hey, did you hit your head? Are you okay? She needs some milk. Yeah. Well, especially if they told you not. And that goes back to the whole thing. Like, if you recall, like, even in that situation, thank you, Brittany. That's a good point. Even in that situation, Madison was one of the ones who told McKelty, stay off that horse, is dangerous. McKelty said, I'm going to go do it anyway. And she got on the horse and got jacked up. She made a bad life decision. And as crazy as it is, even in that spectrum, because they didn't have insurance, which is ridiculous for them to have that many kids and that much money, again, like, you guys are making $100,000 a year. There's no reason why you don't have insurance on your children. Like, you guys should have insurance on everybody. But when she got kicked off that horse, they didn't have insurance for her. And that's a shame. But that could have potentially financially ruined Christine, because that's who it would have ruined. It would have ruined Christine, because she would have been 100% responsible for whatever medical attention McKelty needed. And the reason why she would have needed that medical attention is because she didn't follow simple instructions or directions. And again, and then a couple years later, you come back talking about, this my man, we gonna get married. Yeah. You haven't established with me a whole lot of rapport that you make good decisions. So we're going to put that on pause, and we'll put that under review, for what we should do. But yeah, let me give you a little something. Thank you so much, Brittany, not Brittany. Let me get the other dancer too. Thank you so much. That's awesome. All right. And then I think we have one more. Let me see. We have one more. Anne. Let's check Anne out.
Hi, James. This is Anne. My sister wives' take is that I believe that Cody and Robin plotted to get Robin into the family as the fourth wife. They also plotted to get Robin into the position as being the legal wife. And I believe that with them doing that, once she became the legal wife, they plotted on how to steal as much money as possible from the family fund that the OG3 was putting money into. Because I want to know who was really in control of the bank account, who had access to the bank account. If all the adults were putting money into it, it seems like none of the adults outside of Cody had actual access to it. Mary thought that Janelle had access. Christine admitted that she didn't have access to the money like that. So if all the adults were putting money into it, who really had access? And why didn't the adults all have access? And why weren't they looking at monthly statements together on a monthly basis when they're planning the family finances? I also believe that once Robin became the legal wife, Cody and Robin were able to make way to figure out how to steal as much money as possible. And this is why Janelle and Mary are now in the position that they're in with Coyote Pass, where Robin and Cody are trying to pretty much plot on how to not give them their equal share. I hope that they do get their equal share, but who knows?
Okay. Facts. Yeah, not much I can add to that. And I'm gonna say this. I'll say this. I think that when Robin first came into the family, I think that Cody was eyeing her to become the legal wife. I think that Cody always wanted Robin to be the legal wife because of a couple things. One, he kind of liked the idea, the attention he thought he would get from having Robin as the legal wife. When he talks about or brags about this fine young thing coming up in the church and all the old geezers sitting around looking at her walk around and Shay and Shantae up and down the aisles, looking over her shoulder, dropping pencils on the ground, picking them up and looking over her shoulder to see if everybody looking at Darial's. I think that he was enthralled not only with her looks, but I think he was enthralled with the attention that he would receive by having the quintessential trophy wife in his arsenal. And we have to keep in mind that when we talk about trophy wives, it's not just a younger, pretty wife or whatever. It's the wife that other men want. That's the trophy. That other men want to achieve this thing, and they weren't able to get it. You beat everybody else out, and so you want to be able to put your stamp on it. And I think that when he was looking at that, the ultimate stamp of ownership is actually that legal marriage. Because then, per usual, it's a little more difficult for her to leave, because as it stood with the marriage, the way things worked out, Christine demonstrated it. They had the spiritual marriage and we're married and we love each other and we're the same as the legal marriage. But as soon as shit got tough and it got tight, what did Christine do? Bounced. And she was out. Chucked the deuces, packed up bags, and all you see out back is the smoke screen where, she took off down the road. The smoke screen and the tail lights. That's all you get. But if you have the divorce, you guys have forced interactions where you have to meet up at the courthouse. You have to sit up there and try to negotiate with lawyers. You have to come up with something as far as the agreement in the divorce decree. And if you don't have an agreement in the divorce decree that you present to the attorney and to the judge, then you guys have to meet in front of the judge and have that conversation. And there's possibility after possibility that you have to come in contact with one another. You can petition a court then instead of them issuing a direct divorce decree, because you're not ready to get divorced, that you offer that you guys are forced to go to court-ordered counseling and so on and so forth. There's a ton of ways that you can drag a divorce out. And I think that he likes that protection. He likes that control. And so him thinking that we're a winning couple, he wanted to marry her. There's two sides to every relationship. I don't think that Robin wanted to marry Cody in the beginning. Why? Because there was no guarantee that this show was going to be successful. They had no idea that this show was going to last 19 damn seasons. So I think that Cody wanted to marry her in the beginning and make her the legal wife in the beginning, because he didn't really, not only was he enamored with Robin, but he didn't really care too much for Mary. And he was kind of growing that cold shoulder towards Christine and Janelle. Like, he liked going over Janelle's house with the boys and all that. And Christine, he liked having Christine around because she was good with all the kids. But at the end of the day, the romantic partner that he was looking for was Robin. So with that being said, Robin, it wasn't until season 6 or 7 that, I think it was like 6 or 7, might have been like 7 or 8, that all of a sudden, she just figured out that Cody isn't going to be a part of her kid's life and he has to adopt him. That doesn't make any sense. If it was that pressing and if your kids were in that much danger and there was that much concern, wouldn't that have been a conversation that you had with him on the first date? Or maybe not the first date. That'd be kind of crazy. You got to adopt my kids. That'd be insane. But like certainly around the time that you get proposed to and you get engaged, that, just so you know, this is a package deal. You got to get my kids to keep them safe because I don't want them to go to their crazy ass daddy. So you have to adopt my kids. Let's go about the procedure of forcing him to give up his rights because he don't want them anyway. So you can adopt my kids. That would have been a conversation you had in the first or second season, right? Why did it wait? Why did it take 6 seasons for you guys to figure out that you didn't want your kids to go out to Montana no more? And I think that a big reason is because it was right around the time that they bought those big ass houses. That's when all of a sudden it was imperative that she get married to Cody, because because if you keep in mind, Cody was in charge of, to answer your last part of your question, Cody was in charge of the financial fund, the family finances, and the family fund. Cody was running that family fund. So she wanted to tap into that money. And the easiest way to tap into that money is to have a baby with him. That gives you a partial inlet into his income. But these guys are also good about hiding their money and splitting their money up. So even if you did tap into his money, you're only tapping into just his money with the child support. But when it comes to marrying him, any money that he has under his control, and you as a wife, you can kind of coerce him to maybe purchase this or purchase that. Or as I suspected, you could go out and purchase these things for yourself. As a wife, as a person who has that credit card access, I don't have to, Robin doesn't have to go back. Like if my wife had $10 million, I don't have to have access to $10 million. All I need access to is the the black card, the Amex black card that has that has her name on it. Because unless she's trying to jack her credit up every month, when I run that bill up, all I got to do is slide that bill over to her ass. And I think that that's what Robin was doing. This is just my opinion. I think that that's what Robin was doing. She didn't have to have access to the family fund. She's married to Cody. Any debt that she takes on, that's Cody's debt too. So if she runs up a huge amount on credit and she comes home and says, "Oh, we owe American Express or MasterCard, Visa, and Discovery $15,000 is due on the 1st," Cody got to cut a check for those bills. And where's that money coming from? The family fund. And I think that that's how she got access to the family fund. I don't think she had direct access to it. I think she just went out and hit that shit with plastic. She took it over with plastic. And as far as their marriage was concerned, I think he wanted to marry her. She didn't necessarily find it important to marry him until after she realized that the family was actually making good money and the show seemed like it wasn't going anywhere. And she wanted to be he was the patriarch of the family, but she wanted to be the matriarch of the family. And the easiest way to do that was to become the first wife, the legal wife. And she'll have control over everything. Even when they talked about like the one house deal, like, oh, there's a clip I have where Janelle brings up, pros and cons. Cody does the whole, let's do pros and cons. And Janelle, even though she was excited about the one house, she said, well, look, one con would be that we could never sell a damn house. And it would eliminate the opportunity for us to be able to inherit or estates for our kids. And that's partially true. It would eliminate any possibility that Janelle, Mary, or Christine could inherit for the kids. But their opportunity to inherit would be greatly limited because Robin would inherit everything. She would inherit that entire one house deal. And it would be up to her discretion how she divides that money or Cody's estate at that point. And with the way she talks now, with the excuses that she lays out now, I can see the conversation unfold in my mind. it'll be, oh, Cody kick off. He out there cutting down the tree and the tree tip on his ass. He get crushed up and all of a sudden his little legs roll up and shit. His shoes shoot off like Wizard of Oz with the ruby slippers. And then Robin will go out there and say, well, my kids found him out there crushed up by the tree and they traumatized him because they went through so much and they were super close with him. They should get more. They should inherit all his stuff because they were really, 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 really like a fifth grader writing a book report, really, really, really close to him. And so therefore they should inherit everything. And that would have been her excuse. And she might have kicked off a little couple chump change things here and there. But yeah, they would have got screwed. Like you would have got screwed. Yeah, screwed. Worst thing could have happened to them OG3 wives is that they and Janelle, to her blessing, she understood the assignment. Because she was saying in the beginning, I don't know about this shit. I'm going to marry Robin, ain't nothing going to change. And I was like, I don't know about this. Because she understood the assignment. Robin gets to decide what happens and who gets what. Janelle was way more trusted with Mary. She said, well, Mary at least has a sense of honor, a sense of fairness. I don't think Mary's going to screw me over. But I noted Robin's going to screw me over. And she's 100% right. Follow your instincts, ladies. Follow your instincts, ladies. Follow your instincts. You have them for a reason. Because she definitely would have took all that money. She'd have took it all. And there's nothing that they could have did about it. And here's the thing. Here's the secret to the sauce. She had mentioned she had mentioned the thing about, and mentioned the thing about where they're going to be with the finances. Here's the little secret. This is what James thinks. You hear it fresh here. When rubber meets the road, these ladies need to figure out what they're going to do. You got to stop playing around with the whole, maybe I'll get a lawyer, maybe I'll talk to somebody. Whatever you're going to do, you need to damn do it. Because of one, statute of limitations. Hello, if you go too long with their names on a document and you say that shit was a mistake and it should have been this and it should have been that, you only have a limited window where legally you could even bring the action. Your window is very limited that you could bring the action, right? And that's not guaranteeing that you will win. That's just saying that you have the right to sue or bring a legal action. What a court is going to look at is say, why did it take your ass so long to get here? Why did it take you so long? If you knew that this had happened, you knew it was wrong, why didn't you come down immediately and have them change it when you paid them X amount of dollars? And that's the challenge that they were already faced with. And that's if they would have went years ago. This whole thing has been like County Pass has been to be honest with you, I think that County Pass is beyond the statute of limitations. I think they're fucked. Like as far as the legal remedies are concerned, because even when they gave the additional money, well, we had a verbal agreement. You can't create a verbal agreement or a verbal contract on real estate. Real estate, you have to have a written agreement to lay out everything about real estate, any real estate transactions. So like I said, when they gave that last payment, they should have did that shit in the title office where they transferred all the titles to all the lots and all the deeds to the property. They should have put that in everybody's name at that time, or I'm not paying for another nickel on this property. Because where they are right now, like Cody's name is on everything. Robin's name is on the majority of it. Cody and Robin's name is on that big ass piece of property on the far right where the pond is. That whole thing that used to be Christine, Cody, and Robin. Cody's now saying that that's all his property. I don't think there's anything they can do to get that shit. Crazy as it is. But whatever y'all going to do, y'all need to damn do it and get it over with. Because here's the other part of it. And this even goes to like the McMansion money, the shit show chateau money, or any money that you think you have coming to you, even the money that should have been in the family fund. Here's the thing. As long as you were on the show, and nobody else has said this or pointed this out, so let me be the first. As long as you're on the show, you have a certain level of protection because Cody and Robin don't want to look like assholes by taking everything. So as long as you're on the show, you got a certain level of protection. You lose that protection as they start to realize that this show is about to go away. If this show gets canceled, any money that they have, any property that they have, you can fuck all. You can kiss off because there's no way they're giving you that money. You're not going to see a nickel of that money ever, 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 ever. They're not transferring nothing. Anything that's in their name is staying in their name, and they will sell it 100%. Because at that point, they have nothing to lose. There's no reason in the world why they would sit up there and play nice with you. The only reason why I feel like they're playing nice right now or even having these conversations is because they're on television and they don't want to have people like me or my silly ass sitting there on YouTube talking shit about them. And then People Magazine and Oprah Winfrey and everybody, holding Christine up like she's the hero and Mary and Janelle like they're heroes and victims because they were taken advantage of by these people. That's the only reason why I think that they haven't screwed them over officially yet. I don't think it has anything to do with Cody thinking that he has a nice, quiet wife who's telling him that he has to do the moral thing. I think it's because they're still on TV and they don't want to be those people. But as soon as this show gets canceled, whatever they got is what they keep. And so these ladies need to forget the storyline shit. Create new storylines. I'm tired of watching you arguing over Cowdy Pass anyway. Create new storylines. Get your damn money. Get your coins up. Because these people are gonna screw you. Let me see. We had something from Brittany 499 Super Chat. Robin, in my mind, they were really, 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 really unsafe after the experience kind of thing, really, 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 really. Thank you so much, Brittany. You're 100% right. That's all point too. With the you've captured her voice. You've captured her voice. In my mind, they were really, 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 really unsafe after that experience kind of thing. Yeah, no specifics. She doesn't point to a direct thing, and she doesn't point to a direct person. She might just say Christine. Christine was evil. She was the one who made it unsafe. She's like a ringleader. But yeah, screw everybody because it was really, really unsafe. And they never accepted me or my kids. But I brought them into the family. 1, 2, I had this man, I blackmailed and extorted my ex-husband, into giving up his rights over these kids so that I could have the people who were always nasty to my children and made them feel like outsiders. I made a path for them to be able to adopt them because that's what I do. Like, come on, player. That shit don't make no sense. Tell your story walking. It don't make no damn sense. Let me give Brittany a little something, something. Give a little something, something. Brittany, not pretty. Applause for her creative work. I'm telling you, if Sister Wives ever actually scripts this show, Brittany, you should be one of the writers because you have captured her voice. We have Raiders Mod $2 super chat. I need to get one of them. Do you think Cody would have divorced if it was Janelle? I think that he would have been crazy. I'll take that back. I think that he would have divorced Janelle just because I think that he took Janelle for granted because Janelle was the one that he always thought was going to be around. And no matter what he did to Janelle, how he treated her, he always assumed she was going to be around. Kind of like what he did with Mary. I think he always kind of assumed Mary was going to be around no matter how evil or cruel he treated her. But with Janelle, even now, I think that there was a space where in season, I think when they aired it for us and they met at that restaurant, a Mexican restaurant with Janelle after their argument, there was room for Cody where he could have mended that relationship. The way that he could have mended that relationship with Janelle is through her kids. and I'm not afraid to say it now. I would have been a little more hesitant about saying this form of strategy if he didn't completely shit the bed and ruin any possibility he would get back with her. But I think the way that he could have gotten back with Janelle, if he was really trying to get back with her, is for him to target her children and develop those relationships, reach out to her kids, rehabilitate those relationships with her kids, and then he would have had Janelle back on the hook. The reason why I think that he never was able to reconcile with Janelle is because he kept pushing her kids off. And he kept telling, like, oh, you guys got to come back and apologize to Robin. You guys have to come back and kiss Robin's ass. And if you don't do it, then I don't want nothing to do with you. And because he did that to them and he pushed them out the way he did, she wasn't having it because of her children. But she was okay with how he was treating her, which is unfortunate. But I think that he would have divorced her and just tried to keep her around. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. Here's the crazy part. I'm not 100% sure she would have married him to begin with. Because Janelle, one, had already been married, and two, Janelle really like Brittany said, really in her mind, she really enjoyed being a single woman in a marriage. So Janelle did live her life almost as a single woman, that independent woman. And she happened to have the tie of matrimony and spiritual matrimony. But it wasn't a thing that she had to maintenance every day. And she was fine with that. So I don't know if she would have married him. It would have been awesome if he would have asked her. He was like, nah. No, I don't think that's a good idea. No, I'm not doing that. Watch his heart just break in half, you know. Huh? You don't want to marry me? What's that you say? You don't want to marry me? Yeah, but thank you so much, Raiders Mile. Let's give you a little something. That's a good question. That's an interesting thing, though. That'd be interesting. Yeah, but I can see that. What's that you say? No. Yeah, I don't think we'll get married. All I'm gonna say is somebody better check on Cody's ass because I don't think his heart can take it. She jump, she reject him. Ooh. Well, I mean, I don't mind you coming around. You coming around tonight? You treat me like a whore. You know? No, I mean, you just come by, do your thing. You can leave it. You don't have to stay the whole night. In fact, I prefer you don't. Cody's hot, boy. All his shit be flat. Like it'll kill them curls, boy. Oh, Lizzie B said that's why Janelle isn't rushing to date anyone else. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think that, I just think that's just how she rolls. Like, and it's no disrespect to her. I respect it. Because, especially after she's been married twice. She was married to Mary's brother. That didn't go well. They got divorced. And then she married Cody with him for 30 years. She's like, I'm on to the next thing. If I fall in love with somebody else, that'll be what it is. But I'm not out looking for the question for love. Like, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to enjoy life. And I respect that. Like, you know what I mean? I respect it. But, I think she's cool by herself. And I do believe her when she says that she likes the freedom of polygamy. That's what she likes. Like, I'm doing a video. I'm working on a video now. I did a thing on 90 Day Fiance. They have a couple on there that's a throuple. Okay. And one of the videos that I want to do, I have 2 videos coming out. One video I'm talking about 90 Day Fiance Last Resort. They have a person on there, Jasmine. She wants to open her relationship up, her marriage up. She wants to have an open marriage for what do you call ethical non-monogamy, right? And neither one of these people are ready to do that. Right? They're not mentally prepared for the realities of what it is they're trying to do. And I do have idea for another video that I'm going to do. I'm not going to say it here because sometimes I'll say it here and then it'll turn up on somebody else's channel. But no shots intended. Sometimes people's minds just work similarly. But when push comes down to shove, Janelle, a lot of the people that I'll say it this way, a lot of people that I see on these shows who want to do like seeking sister wives, seeking brother husband, seeking polygamy families like sister wives or whatever. A lot of these people are not equipped and are not ready to be in polygamous relationships. Janelle, I think, could do polygamy. She could do polygyny. I think she could do plural relationship. She could do non-monogamous relationships. I think she is equipped to do it. Like, it's not a thing that everybody can do. It's not something that everybody can jump into. It's not a decision that you can make. Oh, I'm going to just go around and I'm going to have a boyfriend or a husband. And I'm going to just get boyfriends. I'm going to have a girlfriend and a wife. And I'm going to just have a bunch of people I'm sleeping with. Not everybody can do that. And they certainly can't do it when their partner is participating in the same thing. Janelle, I think she could do it. I think she could pull it off. I think she could pull it off. It's not a lot of people I say that about, I'll just be straight up. A lot of people, I'll be like, oh, you're about to ruin your life. You're about to get divorced. That's what you're going to do. You're not opening your marriage. You're opening up the divorce lawyer's wallet because that's where you're going to put all your money because you are going to get divorced. But Janelle, yeah, she could do that shit because she's the only one who, like, and again, this is no shot on Christine or Mary or even Robin to that degree because most people, I think, especially growing up in a Western society, most people in a Western society are not raised to do polygamy. And it's almost, I won't say it's unnatural for them. It's an unnatural state because I don't think it goes that deep. But I think that it's so ingrained, like the idea of monogamy and having your own and that, the selfish nature of love is so ingrained that there's no way you're not going to unlearn it or not feel that way because somebody had a conversation with you and they told you all the finer points of you being in this type of relationship. It's not a freaking thing. You understand what I mean? Janelle, she could do that shit. But yeah, but that's just that's kind of the way it rolls. That's the way it rolls. But I have I have a couple videos I have coming out. So I have 90 Day Fiance, Last Resort. I want to talk about 90 Day Fiance, Last Resort. I want to talk about Janelle or Jasmine, and I got to talk about these damn therapists. Because one of the more disturbing things about The Last Resort and even some of the therapy sessions as presented on TLC, I think it's actually way more damaging because they try to present it like therapy is a good idea. But the therapists that they select, and more importantly, the therapists that they air and put on screen are so ineffective and they're so damaging. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether it's incompetence, stupidity, naivete, or just you don't give a shit about your profession. But some of the people that they put on these shows, not to point too many fingers, but we saw 2 on Sister Wives, that I don't even know why they coming to see you. What are they showing up for? Because when you have people who are entering into these therapy sessions and they are doing things that are extremely destructive, they're taking positions that are extremely damaging, and you sit there as a professional and you not only allow it to happen, but in some cases you condone the conversation or activity. Not everybody is. It's like anything else. It's like anything else. You look at a basketball team, not everybody's a star. Not everybody's a star player. Any profession is like that. Not everybody is good. Just because you do a thing doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're doing. Pardon my French. Some people are therapists, and they're shit therapists. They're terrible. Terrible. Cody said they're terrible. And some of these people that TLC hires, terrible, giving terrible advice. And that's why I wanted to talk about like some of the encouragement of open marriages, polygamy, polygyny, ethical non-monogamy. It's not just a question of whether you want to do it. It's also a question of whether, one, you can do it, you can handle it, and two, being compassionate and considerate enough for your partner to take into account of whether they can handle it, whether they can do it. And that's an important question. And if you get involved in a polygamous marriage like the Brown family, you have to ask yourself that question. Can my wife, you say, okay, I got this. As the man, I come into the relationship, I don't have to worry about them seeing anybody else because it goes against the religion and the faith and the whole principle. So I don't have to worry about that level of jealousy. But can my wives handle it? And do I have, and it goes deeper than just can my wives handle it? Will they be jealous? The basic day-to-day things, especially when you're being counseled by people who are supposed to be experts in the field, the things that you never consider. How do the holidays work? How do birthdays work? How do I work my finances? How do I work my time management? How do I work with the additional children? When you start putting kids in it, how does that work? How will I have my family formed? These are all things that you have to kind of take into consideration. Not everything is about sex and sexuality as pushed by many of the professionals on TLC. They always try to make it seem like all your problems can be solved between the bed sheets. But what, in my experience, usually when people are in relationships, the problem isn't necessarily between the bed sheets. Like, sure, there might be an opportunity for people to enjoy the experience a little more with certain folks that could come down to skill level and aptitude. But the reality of it is that even when you have problems in the bedrooms, usually those problems originate from somewhere else in a relationship. They usually start with somebody else. You have a problem with infidelity, it may well, she don't pay attention to me. It's probably something else. It's probably something a little deeper. It's not a matter of, well, you just got to give it to them more. You got to give it to them a little different. You got to blow her back out. Put it on her. And that'll fix all your problems. That's not a thing. Sometimes you have to get in there and do the work. And when you have multiple relationships, and this is where I think Janelle is more ready for these types of relationships because she's not wired the same way people are wired. Like, she's okay with people going out and experiencing these types of relationships. I think the one limitation Janelle has in these types of relationships, to be honest, the more I think about it, is the communication factor. Because Janelle doesn't come out and she's not forthright with a lot of her opinions, because she kind of just sits back and she doesn't want to create any waves or any difficulty. So she just kind of lays back. Where if you're in these types of relationship, the chief thing is aside from respect and honesty, is that you have in consideration, you have to have excellent communication skills. You have to be able to express what it is you want, what it is you need, and be able to have that conversation. And if you can't do that, then you should not be participating in these. I mean, it's hard enough to do a monogamous relationship if you're not good at expressing yourself and telling people what you want, what you need. It's damn near impossible for you to have a healthy or even a semi-functional plural relationship, if you can't come in and express yourself. Ty, just what da super chat. Ty, what's up? Remember, part of the Armada. Just wanted to leave a little something. Thank you so much, Ty. Appreciate it. And I do get it. That's awesome. Leave a little something. That's awesome. That's awesome. I know some people in there saying this.
Settle down, Johnny Appleseed.
But that shit got me hyped. That's awesome. Leave a little something. I love it. Thank you so much, Ty. Appreciate you. Yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. Because I think that when people push this kind of lifestyles, whether it's sister wives or 90-Day Fiance or a lot of these things, I think that you have to step back and really think about these types of relationships. Not just the impact of what it's going to have, like as far as like the jealousy and stuff, but what impact is it going to have in your life when you start having children in this type of relationship and a fun time stop? How do you deal with that? I mean, these are questions that you really got to ask. So yeah. Was this Murray Hickson? If you can't touch a pencil after it cheats, how are you willing to share it? Yeah. And that's the thing. Most people never learn that lesson in kindergarten. They do not share well. Okay. They do not share. They're not trying to have you go off and do your thing and then come back and they're okay with it. And again, just to give a little preview of some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in my Jasmine video, there's also a point where because she had a discussion with one of the therapists, just to give a little preview. She had a discussion with one of the therapists, and the therapist had advised her that she is participating in a non-monogamous, what do you call it, a ethical non-monogamous relationship. And it sounds great and it sounds awesome when you get, you give the little feathery paint job on the bullshit. You polish that turd good. It sounds great and it sounds awesome. But one of the things that they don't talk about in these discussions, and this is something that should be taken into account, is that what happens if you try it and you both agree that if you don't like it, you're going to stop. What happens if you try it, you don't like it, but your partner do? And that creates a problem because once you pop, you can't stop. Like once you give somebody a little taste, it's hard to tell them like, oh, you can't do that thing, because there are limits or levels where you have somebody cross that line. Once they've crossed that line and they've done the unthinkable and the thinkable now becomes reality, it's very difficult for you to tell them that they can no longer do that thing. Whereas you have a certain level of protection when you first start. When you first enter a relationship, especially a monogamous relationship, you come in and you say, you know what? You can't do this, that, and other. Now, if they go out and do it, they feel guilty about doing it. But if I get to do it and I do it sans guilt, and I don't have the guilt, and I like it, why can't I keep doing it? You know what I mean? And then that hurdle is no longer in place. So it's just stuff to think about. But we have a new member in the house, Erica MF. Welcome to the Armada, Erica. Welcome. Let me give you a little something. Make sure you check out Monday because I have Monday Motivation. I might do a couple of them because I have a couple things I wanted to get out. But we also have Erica MF, $10 super chat. Hi yourself. Hey. Let me give you a little something. Again, Erica MF in the house. What's up? Yeah. But I will release the give an early release to a lot of the Monday motivations. I might push them out a little more the Mondays. If they're get kind of popular and folks are liking them and they're sharing them and stuff, then I'll maybe pass them on to part of the main channel. I tried to do it before, just a little inside baseball. I tried to do it before, but folks weren't really digging it. So I thought it'd be a cool place to put it in the members place because I have a little more freedom there. Yeah, but thank you guys so much. Yeah, Glizzy B in the house. Subscribe to James. My Take on Reality. What? Yeah, but we will. I have some stuff coming. I have to reach out to another creator. I'm doing a collab with some lovely ladies. I'm very excited about it. Be hitting them dumpsters. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Be hitting them dumpsters. So yeah, we're getting that together. It's more on my end now, just making sure we can nail some carve some good time out that we can film that out. That'll be open for everybody to be able to participate. Like I said, as far as the memberships, I appreciate you guys joining the membership and supporting the channel. I will try to give you guys as many perks as I can for your membership and your support of the channel. But for folks who can't join the memberships, don't worry about it. I want to still try to give you guys, I will give you guys as best quality content as I possibly can. Nobody gets left out. Nobody gets left behind. That's also part of the reason why on Sunday nights when I do my call-in shows, you guys can call in. You can have a conversation with me, be online. It's awesome. I definitely have a good time doing it. And then if you guys don't necessarily feel comfortable calling in, guess what? You can go to the Speakpipe. You can leave a message. That way you can have your voice heard on the channel and I can respond back to what you say and we can have that dialogue. Because maybe you don't feel like being on the show. I get it. It's not for everybody. But that's another outlet. If you also want to reach out to me at MyTakeOnReality, MyTakeOnRealityQuestions at gmail.com, holla at your boy. You can send me an email, okay? It's cool. Like, we have a bunch of ways that you can reach out and that you can participate in the channel. And I want people to feel comfortable participating in the channel because that's why we do it. Oh, we have another person who just gifted one My Take on Reality membership. Thank you so much, Raspberry, giving folks an opportunity to be able to participate. That's awesome. I appreciate you. And again, we're trying to grow a positive community because, again, the way I view YouTube for me is a place that I go for fun. It's a place that I go for pleasure. I don't go to YouTube to try to, create a bunch of havoc and create problems in my life. I got enough shit going on. I don't need additional stuff. I need more escapes, not less stress. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to create here. A positive place where we can influence each other in a positive manner. We can encourage one another. And this community is awesome. I appreciate you guys holding the community down. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, let me give Raspberry a little something. Give Raspberry a little something. Because she hooked us up. And we have Lizzie B also gifted a membership. Thank you, Lizzie B. Just gifted one My Take on Reality membership. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. See, trying to get people to participate. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we have a lot of awesome folks here. We have a lot of awesome folks who are very generous and kind and compassionate and caring. And I think that this is an awesome community. I really do. And as part of that, I want to make sure I give a special shout out to, did I give Lizzie B? Let me give Lizzie B a little something. I'm skipping all over myself, y'all. Yeah, but speaking of the community, thank you, Lizzie B. Thank you, Raspberry. Welcome, Erica MF. And speaking of Lizzie B, she gave 2 memberships tonight. Oh no, I missed one. Lizzie B gave 2 memberships tonight. 2 memberships. That was terrible. But yeah, big shout out to Lizzie B. Yeah, but the great thing about this community is, like I said, we have some awesome folks. We have some fantastic moderators. Lizzie B is one of the moderators, holding a brother down, as well as Brittany, not Brittany. She's in the house, holding a player down. And we can't, of course, forget Caramel Cuties, who's in the house holding a player down. These are some what I call mega mods, but these are the folks who help make the chat super cool when I can't, because I'm gonna be honest, like when I'm doing a lot of this stuff that I'm doing here, I got a lot of shit happening behind the scenes that I'm trying to work on and like tap into, as well as trying to present. So it's very difficult for me to monitor what's going on in the chat room. So the moderators are invaluable. They're invaluable. So give them let's get them some hearts in the chat. You guys, remember, let's get them some love in the chat. Give them let's get it. Little emojis. But thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me for, listen to a brother talk about sister wives situation, as well as the other things that we're talking about. Got a lot of stuff planned. I'm going to roll out more videos. I'll have a video come out every day. Some of the videos will be about 90 Day Fiance. The Last Resort, I think their last episode is this week. Then I'm going to have Love After Lockup. I'll be talking about that. I'm going to have some court shows. Guess what, y'all? I'm dropping a video about Frankie. That's coming out. I think I want to drop that. If I don't drop it tomorrow, but I might drop it on Monday, because tomorrow might be too short an order. It might not get any traction. But I think I'm going to drop that on Monday. I will drop The Last Resort tomorrow. And I will drop I think I'm going to drop a Sister Wives video on Saturday. And guess what, y'all? We are back here Sunday night, 8 p.m. Make sure you come out and join. Be ready with your comments, your observations, or if you want to talk about anything that I talked about during the course of the week, or something that we heard, like something pops up in the news, and they're like, guess what, y'all? Cody went crazy. He done gave the wives all their money back. Let's talk about it. We're going to have that conversation, and you guys can call in and give your opinion. All right? Thank you guys so much for hanging out with a player. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody participating. Let's give another shout out real quick to everybody who joined tonight. We have Raiders Ma. We have Kitty, 1838. Lizzie B gifted a membership. Erica MF joined. Welcome to the Armada, folks. Then we have Raspberry gifted a membership. And of course, Lizzie B gifted another membership. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with a player. I'm going to roll out some more content for the members and some more content for everybody else to enjoy. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like what I'm doing, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share, especially some of the videos that aren't connected to Sister Wives, so that way we can get the word out that we're doing a little more stuff and reaching out to different things here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with a player. I appreciate you guys. I hope you had a great time, because I did. I had fun. I smiled. I laughed. I enjoyed myself. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for the mods, again, the mega mods, Carmel Cutie, Brittany Not Brittany, and Lizzie B. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Go for a ride down the side, kiss, yeah.